Hola chicos, here are your notes for your present tense of AR verbs. So these are the verbs that are in the third column on our vocabulary list that we have been working with. Today we're going to learn how to change the verb from an infinitive to walk, to talk, and change it into I walk, I talk. So as you watch the video, notice that it starts out word for word, so just follow along and then fill in the notes as you find the information.
Buenos dias! Welcome everyone! Today we're going to talk about something very important. Oh no! Not that. Next slide. Let's talk about the present tense of AR verbs. Verbs express actions or states of being. The base form of any verb is the infinitive. In English, the word to comes before the infinitive. To study, to be, and so on. In Spanish, infinitives are one word. They're divided into three groups by their endings: AR, ER, and IR. For now, let's concentrate on the forms of AR verbs like estudiar.
So as he said, the ending AR, ER, and IR, that's like our English to in front of a verb. So the to study, it's all in one word. Here's the to here, AR. We're going to learn to drop that and change it so it becomes he studies, or I study, or they study.
Which means to study. Take a look.
Yo estudio, tú estudias, usted estudia, él estudia, ella estudia. Nosotros estudiamos, nosotras estudiamos, vosotros estudiáis.
Now remember, we do not learn the vosotros forms. So if you are currently filling in your box on the verb estudiar, let me get it dragged over here, this box here, if you're filling it in, remember, we skipped that. See this empty box right here? That's where the vosotros would have gone had we learned it.
Vosotras estudiáis, ustedes estudian, ellos estudian, ellas estudian.
If you have not done so, go ahead and fill in the notes for that verb conjugation. Fill in all the boxes with the conjugations of estudiar.
Check out these sentences.
Juan Carlos estudia ciencias ambientales.
Let me drag that back just a bit. So that's your example underneath the box of estudiar conjugations. And that means Juan Carlos is studying, estudia. Notice how the ending changed. Is studying environmental sciences. The next example is right next to that.
Estudia ciencias ambientales. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué estudias, Miguel?
And you, what are you studying, Miguel? We know the y tú and what. Now notice the verb is going to go here, and then our subject, Miguel, is at the end. Let's make sure that you got this filled in correctly. Estudiar was to study, right? You drop that AR off, and you get estudi in all of these, and then we change the ending. So in the yo form, you get estudi, and then the AR becomes o. Tú estudias. Well, I should have gone here, but nosotros, nosotras estudiamos, él, ella, usted estudia, and ellos, ellas, ustedes estudian.
Él.
To create the forms of most regular verbs in Spanish, drop the infinitive ending, in this case AR, to get the verb's stem. Then add the AR verb endings that go with the different subject pronouns. Take a look at these three examples from the verbs estudiar, to study, bailar, to dance, and trabajar, to work.
Yo estudio, tú bailas, nosotros trabajamos.
Here are some common AR verbs.
Caminar, cantar, cenar, desear, dibujar, enseñar, explicar, llegar, llevar, necesitar, practicar, preparar, regresar, viajar.
Try some of these. I study. I study. How would you write that in Spanish? The I is yo. You drop the AR off of estudiar, and you should be getting yo estudio. How about we dance? How do you say we dance? That's right. Nosotros estudiamos. Now try he works. Did you get él estudia? Notice that I have included a longer list of common AR verbs. They're all found on your vocabulary list, so you have them 2 places now. But let's pay attention to this section here.
Pay attention to buscar, escuchar, esperar, and mirar. Unless they're referring to a person, they're not followed by a preposition as their English equivalents can be.
Buscar, escuchar, esperar, mirar. Busco la tarea. Escucho la música. Espero el autobús. Miro la pizarra.
So notice that busco la tarea has no for in here. It's not busco para la tarea. Escucho la música has no to in there. Escucho a la música. Espero para el autobús. They're just not there. So in these verbs here, we've got to remember that those prepositions are not used.
It's your turn to practice. I'll give you a subject pronoun, and you say the form of the verb cantar. Ready? Tú. Cantas. Nosotros. Cantamos. Usted. Canta. Ellos. Cantan. Yo. Canto. Fabuloso! Ready to move on? Now, let's talk about using the present tense.
Direct your attention to the back side of your notes now.
In Spanish, the present tense can be used to express the English simple present, the present progressive, or the emphatic present. In Spanish and English, the present tense is also sometimes used to talk about the future. When 2 verbs are used together with no change of subject, the second verb is usually in the infinitive.
Deseo hablar con el señor Díaz.
This is exactly what we do in English. Deseo, I want. Hablar, to speak. See how verb number 1 changes to go with the subject, but verb number 2 stays an infinitive? There's the to of English, making it an infinitive. Here's the AR ending of Spanish, making it an infinitive. So when you've got 2 verbs, verb 1 followed by verb 2, you're going to have a compound verb. Change the first one to go with the subject, leave the second one alone.
To make a sentence negative, add no before the conjugated verb.
Alicia no desea bailar ahora.
Let's make sure that you've written this down or that you're understanding. So Juan desea descansar. We've got 2 verbs here. The first one is considered verb 1. It changed to go with Juan. The second one is left alone, ends in an AR. We do that in English. Desires to rest. To rest is an infinitive. And with the negatives, to make a negative, you have to put the no in front of the verb, right? So we're going to get subject, then no in front of your verb. So yo deseo, verb 1, hablar, verb 2. Together, they're considered the verb, right? So, con el señor Díaz, I want to speak with Mr. Díaz. That's a declarative sentence. That is what we would want to just give fact or state information. Now, el señor Díaz is what I'm going to call the remainder. Okay, so we'll put our subject, then our verb, or in this case, verb phrase, 2 verbs in the middle, followed by the rest of the stuff, the extra information. We're going to call this SVR, declarative syntax, just giving information. This is negative syntax. We've got to put that no in front of our verb. So we have an SVR again, but we got to put that no in here. So now it becomes subject no. So Alicia no desea bailar. So together these are considered our verb phrase. Ahora, that is going to be the remainder. So negative syntax would be subject no in front of your verb. And if you have a remainder like we did here, that would be last. You try this. Okay, I want you to write the sentence. He speaks Spanish. Pause me and try that. Did you get él habla español? This is just declarative information, just giving fact or stating information. But this one is negative, so you've got to take this and change it just a little bit to make it negative. Pause and try that one. Did you get él no habla español? If so, then you've got it. You're on the right track.
Spanish speakers often leave out subject pronouns because the verb endings indicate who the subject is. Subject pronouns are used for emphasis, clarification, or contrast.
¿Qué enseñan? Ella enseña arte y él enseña física. ¿Quién les
Let's go back and look at that for just a moment. Okay, who wants to work today? Who desires to work today? I don't want to work today. You did not need that yo in there because this O right here tells us who the subject is. Only yo goes with deseo. But if you really want to emphasize it, I want to work today, you would include it.
trabajar hoy?
Next up is an AR verb that you can use to talk about your likes and dislikes.
Gustar. Gustar means to be pleased by. We will come back and take notes on this section later. So you are finished with your notes.